We are, episode 1, me, a mediocre Minecraft builder, going through my process of making my own Pokemon region inside of Minecraft. And for some reason, the first thing I did was the professor's house. This is what I've decided on. I'm probably going to do some changes throughout the series as my standards have increased, but I like it so far. We've got the non-matching colors was kind of what I originally go for, but also modern. And for some reason, I just started blocking it out, and this is what I went for. The pink wood up here, the mangrove wood over here, and this acacia wood here. And also, I thought about it with the tinted glass in particular, because not only would it look different and interesting, but I originally thought like the glowiness would look cool at night, but I have a door, and that kind of ruins that. But like over here, it kind of looks cool, you know, the light on the inside, dark on the outside. That's what I was originally going for, but it didn't really pan out. But I still like the tinted glass more than normal. Anyway, I think the best way to get a look at this is to go inside. The door sounds fun. And once you're in here, you can see there's this weird science-y thing I tried to go for. I don't really know what I was thinking, but I want to keep it because I can't think of anything else to put in the middle of the room. This is to cover up the soul sand and magma that is up there, because this big tube that you see is actually full of bubble column water. So that when you like go inside, you can look out the little tinted glass holes, but also go down and up. I don't know why I did that, but I think it looks cool from the outside. And then I also did these little fluorescent tube lights. I thought this looked pretty cool. I haven't seen this designed anywhere, where you have the slab and then these across. They kind of look like those science-y ceiling lights, kind of industrial too. And then just a little plant, because I thought it'd be weird to have a random chest here and then nothing around it, so I added this fun plant. The chest is for the actual gameplay of this, which will be functional. It's fully functional, and once I complete it, I'll put the download out there if there's enough interest and I ever finish it. I feel like this is going to take forever. But yeah, let's look over to the left, and we see the professor herself. You can tell it's the professor because they have glasses and a white coat. And then you would press this button and then she says everything that she's going to say. But I just want to go over the building for now. I thought the flooring looked kind of weird, so I added this big moss carpet, a little pink bench here, because it was kind of empty, and I think it looks nice adding to the color. This is like a reading lamp. I don't like just the sea lantern being out. I tried a bunch of things to try to cover it, but it doesn't really work because there are signs here and you can't go like back to back. But I think it turned out nice enough. And you have the rod that's adding even more light. The lighting was the hard thing, because with all the tinted glass windows, I said that I liked them, but it is a bit of a pain with the lighting because you don't have any natural light. It's all provided from the inside. And I also haven't seen this, but I like how I did the bookshelves. Oh, I think this is a good time to mention, because these are connected and varying textures for bookshelves provided by Vanilla Tweaks. The link to my specific resource pack and the website itself are in the description, but you'll see a lot of other textures I'm making use of, like also these connected tinted glass textures. That is also provided by Vanilla Tweaks. You can see it's borderless right there. But anyway, back to this. I put the signs around the bookshelf so that it looks like actual shelving, like all the way around, which I thought was cool, so it's only like open from the front like a normal bookshelf would be. And I like the little divider, the stone divider between the two types of room. We have like the science-y over here and the cozy over here, and then also the ceiling is all the same. I went back and forth about changing the ceiling as well, but I ended up not going with it. And I don't remember why. I think I just thought this looked nicer. And also, I guess because of the flooring up here, this is all jungle. And this is kind of weird, so of course there's this staircase going up that I kind of struggled with. I might revisit this later and make it look a little bit cleaner, but I added this little support beam here, which I think is kind of nice, and it makes it so there's only one way you can walk through. It is two-sided, you can go up the staircase on either side, but I thought I'd go in here. This is kind of sciencey. Oh, and I did these lighting things like down there just to add some lighting in here. Like you could see through here. I thought was kind of cool. More sciencey, and then you can go into the tube here, and yeah, like I said, you can go up in the soul sand and then down on the magma and kind of look out over the area. I don't know. I thought it was cool at the time. Let's go down and continue to look at this place. So you go up the stairs over up to this place. Around here, it's kind of tricky. And then you're at the top floor, and you can see through the little slats right here. And I think I'm going to add a roof to this place at some point. I don't really know what I'm going to do, but yeah, that is the entirety of this place visually, but of course there is some gameplay things to do in here that I will go over later. The second build that I've done so far is this bridge I did earlier today. This is another one of those textures that is different from Vanilla Tweaks. It is I think it's called the Minecraft Dungeon Stone. I really like it, and it's cool and I use it a lot. But yeah, this is the bridge design I ended up with. I tried, originally this was all spruce down here, so then I got a bunch of different log types and I tried them out. I think I landed on either this stripped dark oak or mangrove or oak logs, and I thought this one fit the best because of like the borders I thought made it look like pillars more. So the wooden pillars go all the way down into the dirt, and I thought this was necessary for some reason. Like this bridge is kind of separate and then this is all attached to the land, and so like the bridge can be swapped out or something. I realize now that's not a thing that happens in real life, but I like the separator anyway. And so I built the bridge, added the pillars, and then of course I needed some way to connect them. I tried at first weird arrangements of like stone slabs and stairs to make them look like chains until I realized this would be cool, and so I used the grindstone to make little chains. And they're all odd numbers though, so I couldn't do straight across alternating chains, so I just did chains as much as I could and then stone in the middle. And originally I had dark oak signs on these two to make them look more like the grindstone, but it ended up being too messy, so I got rid of them. And then I also like this, where it links to the pillar. It looks like it's continuing on the grindstone wood pattern. And then I later subbed in the copper to make it look a lot nicer and sturdier, of course. I just think overall it looks better than the spruce. So yeah, that's what my thought process was and why I ended up with this design. Just like that, I'll probably tweak it throughout the series, but as it is now, I really like it. And the first most visual gameplay thing I want to get into, barrier blocks. This was one of the first things I did after I built most of the lab. I went over here and I just blocked off the river on both sides and that cave over there. I think I'm going to tear these down and have it a lot more open area, more like Scarlet and Violet and less like the older Pokemon games. So that's where we're at with the barrier system. I think I'll leave it without them for now, just those for now, and those, and then not place any more as we go out throughout the journey for a while. Oh, and I had to build out this for this to look normal, for the bridge to be nice, so I'll have to build out this later on too. And now that that's all out of the way, now to the gameplay. So what I've decided so far is that the player will go over from their house, go to their rival, and then come down the bridge over to the professor's house. They're supposed to like see this, but then go over and ultimately press this button. Now there's a lot of work in progress in this, okay? But they press this button, and then they read this. Mangrove. Why does it just say Mangrove? Oh, I think I decided the professor was named Mangrove. That's probably going to change, but it just says Mangrove for now. Hello there, you must be Pancakes 276170. Pancakes 27 was taken. Okay, don't judge me. Oh, I'm sorry, you just missed him. I think he mentioned going off to Route 1, but if you're to go off there and begin your career as a Pokemon trainer, you need to choose a partner. So, of course, this is after you speak to your rival, and you come here looking for your rival in the story. So she's telling you that your rival went off to Route 1 to incentivize you to go there, and then telling you you need to pick your starter Pokemon. Here in the name region, I don't have a name for the region yet, we offer the Grass-type Bulbasaur, Fire-type Charmander, and Water-type Squirtle. Simply press the corresponding button to receive ownership of their Pokeball. Reminder, you can only choose one, so choose wisely. Oh, and feel free to take a few Pokeballs and Pokebucks as well. They will certainly come in handy on your travels. Thought that was pretty obvious for a newcomer here. So you have to push one of these buttons. So of course this is Bulbasaur, Charmander, Squirtle. I thought about like trying to label it somewhere, but hanging signs would look weird because this is supposed to be like plasma tube. I think it's pretty obvious with the color coding. So let's say I choose Bulbasaur. I press the button and I receive Bulbasaur. This is the 6-member Poke Party, and this is where you're going to keep the Pokemon in your active roster, and I thought a bundle was a nice way of doing it. So you have 58 glass in there, so that only 6 individual items could possibly fit in the bag, and it's automatically filled out with, of course, Bulbasaur. And if I just pick it up, right-click in my inventory, there's my little Bulbasaur out of my Pokemon party. Look at him. And I think for now, the Pokemon are just going to be dye of a similar color. So Bulbasaur being cyan makes sense because that's the color that he is in reality. So they get their Pokemon party as well as their starter. And then they go over here, free balls and bucks for new trainers. And you open the chest and you receive your Poke Wallet and some Pokeballs. So I want the Pokeballs to be unique items as well as the Poke Dollars, as you can see in here, or Poke Bucks as I'm choosing to call them for some reason. I need them to be unique items that don't have many interactions, so you can't craft with them, you can't place them or anything. So I thought the new armor trims would be a good way to do that, because the only way you can do something with them is in the smithing table, which you won't have access to throughout your playthrough, really. So I thought that'd be a good fit, and eventually I'm going to retexture them to look like Pokeballs and Pokebucks, whatever they look like. And since you can only stack items up to 64 in Minecraft, I thought a good way to fit as many Pokebucks as you need is with a Poke Wallet, a full shulker box to fill with your Pokedollars. Pokebucks, I need to stop saying that. And I thought 50 was a good way to start instead of like 1,000, because that's going to be hard to keep in a shulker box. I think I'm going to remove a 0 from everything typically in the Pokemon world. So like one Pokeball will be 10 instead of 100 Pokebucks. Thought that'd be a nice way of doing it. So yeah, I broke the chest. You're given your Pokeballs and your Pokebucks, and then you leave, and you're off to Route 1 to find your friend. But this is as far as I've gotten so far. So I want to actually do something this episode, and that will be creating the mechanism of how to actually catch or battle wild Pokemon. Of course, the battling is going to be harder, so I'm just going to do the catching this episode, and I have a bit of an idea of how it's going to work. Okay, so the first attempt was definitely a failure. You see, I tried to do these two things right here. What are they called? The calibrated skulk sensor, and I don't think it's gonna work. So when you encounter a Pokemon, I want you to be able to throw your Pokeball into something, like at it, and then we need some sort of redstone mechanism thing to determine whether or not it catches. Did I mention I'm a mediocre at building? Yeah, I am much worse at redstone, so bear with me. But I know that with these calibrated skulk sensors, you can make it so that, like, throwing an item will trigger one, and then shooting an item will trigger the other one. But you see, the problem is the one that triggers for throwing an item also triggers for shooting an item. So I can't do it with dispensers deciding both, because I thought it would be something like this, where I would have like a bunch of those and then a bunch of these, and then whichever one it does more of. So 3 of them will trigger the shooty one and 6 of them will trigger the non-shooting one. So like that one only triggered that one, but that one triggers both of them, so there's no way for me to do it that way. I'll have to go back to the drawing board. As I mentioned, very bad at redstone, so I had to throw in the towel and Google it, because I knew exactly what I wanted, I just didn't know how to do it. So it turns out there's a pretty simple way to do it. Rogue Fox on YouTube, link in the description, has uploaded a very helpful tutorial that seemingly works on Bedrock as well, and definitely works on Java, and it's pretty cool. So you have a non-stackable item and a stackable item, and I knew that when the non-stackable item sends out a 3 wide pulse, and then a stackable item only sends out a 1. So if you were to send out a non-stackable item, it would turn on this one, but a stackable item would turn on both. But if you send a power into the repeater, then it locks the repeater, which I didn't think actually had a use, but it does. So now when you do a non-stackable item, it goes into this one, and then this one locks itself, so it doesn't light up this one. So now I have a lighting system that lights up this one and this one, but now I need to convert this in a way to catch or not catch a Pokemon, which I think I might have some ideas for. Alright, I think I have it completely working. It looks like a bit of a mess, but I swear I know what's going on. So you've already seen this little bit right here that randomly selects one of these two. They're now dispensers, no longer lights. It dispenses this one when you do not catch it. As you can see, it's like a little puff of smoke of it escaping. And then this one when you do catch it. It's like the Pokemon going inside of a Pokeball in the anime, you know, it turns into like the light and goes into the Pokeball. That's what it's doing. And then I also made a little side route here so that when it triggers this firework, it also triggers to dispense the Pokemon. I'm just representing it by purple dye. And then I also added on this little section over here. This took me quite a while. I had to figure out a way so that it would register throwing in Pokeballs, and I tried to think of a system where it would accept Pokeballs but then not accept any other item, but I couldn't really figure it out, and I didn't want to call upon another YouTube tutorial. So it just works for any item, but I trust that they'll only use their Pokeballs. They'll follow the rules. But I learned some of the circuitry I learned from over here. So you put it into here, and since it's only one, this extends it by here. Then it wraps around, and it's all a tight little system. This triggers this one, and this triggers that one, which cues the whole system to go. So theoretically, you throw the Pokeball into here. There'll be some kind of indicator or something. You throw the Pokeball into there, and then I didn't catch the Pokemon. I try again. I missed. I try again. And I caught the Pokemon, and I get it going into the Pokeball, and I get the Pokemon. So yeah, that's all of the technical stuff figured out. Oh, and I forgot to mention, when you throw something into this place, it gets immediately dispense down there into the lava if I wasn't sitting right next to it. But yeah, it's going to be tricky to copy this entire machine over every single random encounter I want to have. So I think I'm going to have to install and learn World Edit, which is a bit of a problem, especially because I'm on a snapshot, but I think like a 1.19.4 version of World Edit would still work. If you don't know what World Edit is, it's a super handy tool that is a mod for Minecraft tool that allows you to copy and paste things. It does a bunch of other stuff too, but that's what I'm going to need it for this. So I can just copy this little module and paste it around the map underground. And this is the dirt level right here. So this is where the ground will be. And then I have, oh yeah, I have these barrier blocks over here so that when the firework goes up, it doesn't just keep going. I don't want it to be obvious that it's a firework. So yeah, I think that's a good place to end episode 1. Today I caught you up on all of the stuff I've already done over here with the bridge and the professor's lab, and then also figured out the mechanisms of how you're going to catch Pokemon for the wild encounters. I still need to figure out a way to battle Pokemon and then build the player's house and the rival's house and make both of our moms in the story kind of figure out. So I think I'm going to do that next episode. I'm going to figure out all of that early game story as well as the battling system for wild Pokemon specifically. So yeah, I'll see you all whenever that one's out. And if you enjoyed this video, like the video, and if you like Pokemon and or me, subscribe please.